Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to some more Fan Fridays, and this just looks absolutely filthy. We have a Tapu Lele Gardevoir combo. I mean, it just sounds like the ultimate combo. I feel like there's been some Psychic pairings, but not going really hard into it. And the major thing is like, okay, you can resist, you can play around the Psychic, and then you can outwall it. But Psychic Fairy is a whole nother beast because, okay, a Dark-type Pokemon comes in, and now we have two Pokemon that can respond to that Dark-type, and then we have another Pokemon that's free to destroy something as frail as the Aerodactyl. So let's see how crazy this one plays out, and if there's just any shenanigans hanging around as well. That if you're focusing on this combo, it might be just complete nuke, maybe a little bit of utility from the Gardevoir, or there's shenanigans afoot. So Aerodactyl getting that Mega on, and now Gardevoir. New Mega Stone means new potential on the Gardevoir. Hyper Voice just lays the smackdown. Aerodactyl sent up the Tailwind, but when you're running the Gardevoir and Tapu Lele, you don't really expect to be the fastest Pokemon on the field. Tapu Lele is just going to hit that Psychic, and there we go. Psychic onto Aerodactyl. That's not enough to... I'm actually surprised that was not enough to KO, but then Gardevoir is going to Hyper Voice. That's pretty much what you can expect out of this. Honchkrow is going to take insane amounts of damage because Pixelate, super effective, stab, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And I guess it was a good play to make as well because as long as you're using that Hyper Voice, Aerodactyl is definitely going down if it's Focus Sash or whatever. And now it's going to be Staraptor and Sigilyph, and we're in that position where Staraptor might claim something. I feel like if it just goes for like absurd amounts of damage on the Brave Bird onto Gardevoir, that's kind of it. But we have a Z move. No, actually no, it's the opponent using a Z move. Okay, so that's going to be Z move on the Staraptor. What's going to survive that? Alright, so I gotta make sure. Yeah, Supersonic Sky Strike. Could have been a little silly if we went for like Z Mirror move in this situation. But Sky Strike is going to target the Gardevoir in this situation. Alright, Staraptor is an absurd Pokemon, so Gardevoir has to faint after that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Gardevoir goes down, but then you just went 2 for 0 last turn, so now it's 2 for 1. Calm Mind attempt from the Sigilyph under that Tailwind, going to make things a little more interesting. Tapu Lele, though, still gets to do crazy amounts of damage, so that's going to be the Psychic onto the Staraptor, identifying that as a threat, and that's just the power of Tapu Lele. Would not be surprised if that was a Specs Lele as well, because Scarf would have outsped the Staraptor, and then Frostlass comes in, so Tapu Lele is going to switch out. Just don't want to throw in unnecessary attacks into that, and it's going to be Rotom and Frostlass. So Sigilyph uses that +1 Psychic onto Frostlass, big damage, no Focus Sash, Frostlass just goes down, and it's going to be Tapu Lele in right now. So maybe that's why it was Specs, because then Tapu Lele can switch out to a Shadow Ball and not just like hit it with decent damage on that Psychic. Wow! Wow, that's... Oh, wow. Okay, that's right, because Psychic Terrain is boosting the Sigilyph. Yeah, Specs confirmed on that Tapu Lele. And then Shadow Ball, with that Calm Mind up, not going to be enough right there. Tailwind's going to peter out. And then Sigilyph almost bringing it back to an insane degree right there. That Calm Mind was absurd. But then Tapu Lele comes in, and it's just more powerful than that. So, close game off of that Sigilyph. The Sigilyph reverse sweep would have been absolutely insane, but also pretty cool stuff. So the Gardevoir Tapu just led super strong. Let's see what it does in some other battles. I just love it. Even like when the opponent shows something cool, it gets pretty cool. Alright, let's keep going. Same team, different opponent as we see it. Ooh, we have a Quiver Dance Oricorio setup. I wonder what the response is going to be to that. I guess just nuke it out. You know, the one thing, well, there's a couple of things, but you know, if you just break that Focus Sash, tear through with the damage, having insane amounts of focus could make it very difficult for the opponent. I would even imagine that even with the Psychic Terrain up, Hyper Voice, Dazzling Gleam, Specs Lele with the Dazzling Gleam next to a Mega Gardevoir with Hyper Voice, both of those Pokemon die. Both of those Pokemon died. So that's definitely something that could happen. I just like this. I just like how simple the combo is. Also, we're using the Mega Gardevoir. A lot of people are hyped for that Pokemon, but Tapu Lele going to Psychic, choosing Vivillon, and Vivillon is the Focus Sash. Okay. So that's going to be something. Gardevoir with the Psyshock, though. So Psyshock going to get the insane damage, and Oricorio is going to fail. So that's, yeah, if you're just leading with like the hardest aggro damage possible, then things are going to suck. And Vivillon with the lone Quiver Dance. Boosted special defense isn't going to matter at 1 hit points, but Aegislash is going to try to make this one a bit fancy. Tapu Lele might switch out on this. Oh no, Psychic stays in. So that means Gardevoir has a Shadow Ball to try to do something to the Aegislash. And what's Aegislash going to do? It can like Shadow Claw maybe, but nah, Gardevoir has Taunt. Gardevoir! Oh man, so yeah, there's that slight little bit of utility. That's a possibility. And now after that Taunt, Aegislash is stuck in the Blade form. It's going to be slower. Shadow Ball, though, big damage onto the Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele will go down to that. So we're seeing that this is like the risk-reward gamble that you kind of see from this team. Because there's a lot of damage come back in. I feel like that Frostlass really needs a Focus Sash. So Lycanroc, fast Lycanroc, that's going to wreck Frostlass. So Aegislash has a Shadow Sneak. Gardevoir, Psychic... Yeah. I mean, I was about to say the Shadow Ball into Shadow Sneak, but it's like, wait a second, Psychic Terrain is going to be able to stop that. And you just get greedy as an opponent sometimes, and that's what ends up happening. So Lycanroc with the Life Orb, one-shotting the Frostlass, which is why I feel you really need it. Gardevoir flinches, though. That is a really bad flinch to have. Aegislash is still taunted. Lycanroc has the Accelerock, though. Accelerock, wow! Oh, this Rotom just been getting crit all day. I'd say that would have been a little too insane if that was a non-crit move. So just Citrus Berry on the Rotom, taking more damage than it needed to. But Hyper Voice is the response here. And look at the damage onto Lycanroc. So yeah, Lycanroc can put down some hate with a super effective hit, but that ends up happening. And then Thunderbolt on the Aegislash will clean it up. I don't really know what to say, because like it makes sense, and then things just happen, and then your Pokemon plays it pretty safe. Yeah, like I thought there was gonna be like Shadow Ball from Gardevoir hitting the open Aegislash like that. The Hyper Voice still did a lot of damage. Then you kind of see the Rock weakness. It's like, okay, Psychic shuts down one half the team, Rock can shut down the other, Ghost weakness is pretty prevalent, so there is a little bit of weakness that can be exploited, and Gardevoir and Tapu Lele aren't the fastest Pokemon, but just kind of shows that, you know, you either get one shot in return, or you get the one shot off, and that's just the amount of damage we're playing with on this team. So let's go and check out another battle video. It looks like Gardevoir and Tapu Lele have a new friend in the Quagsire. I don't know how that Unaware is going to really factor in this battle, but hey, Quagsire doesn't care, and it only matters if there's a lot of backfiring going on. We're going to see if we can get like that double KO shenanigan kind of lead in this situation. It's going to be a little tricky. Steel-type Pokemon do possess quite a threat, but maybe there's something silly that's going to kind of determine what else happens in this battle. So Battlefield is going to get weird, and can we just shut down right now? So Mega Gardevoir is going to do its thing, and I mean Psychic Psyshock onto the Escavalier, that could be pretty filthy. Let's just see what happens. You know, that's okay. So Shadow Ball, committing the Shadow Ball, Specs onto the Cresselia. Ooh, 3-hit KO, that's gotta hurt. And then Hyper Voice. So Hyper Voice is gonna try to tag as much as it can. Cresselia put in lethal range right now. Escavalier though, not. It's too healthy. That did nothing to the Escavalier. So Escavalier's response is the Iron Head onto the Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele will go down. But I mean, at least you have the bulk of what you need. You have the Psychic Terrain. You have the Mega Gardevoir. Rotom comes in. And I guess it's kind of like the play. It's like sacrifice. Either scare out the Escavalier, but now he's withdrawing into a Hyper Voice. So Chandelure will be able to tank that. Actually get the good double tank on. But that's going to make things hard for the Cresselia. Like, Cresselia might get KO'd by this. Damage roll comes in pretty clean right there. Big damage on the Chandelure as well. So we're going to see what Rotom can do to that. And that's going to be an overheat. But Flash Fire, so charging up the Chandelure is never the best thing that could happen. Rotom can't have Specs, might have Scarf because we already saw the Specs on the Tapu Lele. Bombasnow Snore Warning doesn't really do too much. Blizzard not devastating against Gardevoir. So Bombasnow going to protect, saying, hey, I have a lot of weakness in this Rotom, it wants to mess me up. But Gardevoir outspeeds the Chandelure, gets the Psyshock in there. So Timid Nature Gardevoir, too strong. Too strong with that Psychic Terrain up, and then that's going to be the Bombasnow protecting itself. Gardevoir taking slight amounts from Hail, and that doesn't really matter. So yeah, Chandelure got the good Flash Fire, but then you're bringing it into the insane power of the Psychic Terrain Gardevoir. 100 base speed. actually doing well in the 7th generation and against quite a few of the teams that we've already seen. Mega Abomasnow just going to be slower, just going to get exploited by the Rotom. And what does that mean for everything else? Gardevoir has Focus Blast, though. So Focus Blast actually going to hit Escavalier. Not enough to KO, and Rotom has the Overheat. So Overheat, that's going to go and take down the Abomasnow. That was kind of the play right there. I feel that you could have just Psy-Shocked the Abomasnow. Not enough to KO, still big damage. Focus Blast might have done it compared to the just tankiness of the Escavalier. That's going to be the Iron Head taking down the Gardevoir. But it's Frost Blast that just needs to do a little bit of damage to Escavalier. And he's also getting buffeted by Hail, so the comeback potential not there. Oh wait, never mind. It's Quagsire, not Frost Blast. Either way, Quagsire can still just out-tank the Escavalier pretty effectively. The opponent understands this and will forfeit. Just in case like something still happens, like Overheat misses. Escavalier has no KO potential on the Rotom, no KO potential on the Quagsire. So that game ended just like that. So yeah, I like that team. I like Psychic on the Psychic terrain. It is a risky combo. We did see that bad things happen, but the follow-up and then just the damage. Like, even as the opponent's trying to switch, even as the opponent's trying to respond to you, you're leaving with KOs, and that makes things pretty scary. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoy this battle for Fan Fries. I'll see you in the next one as well.